Welcome back to Yahoo Finance Live. Time now for a check of the energy market, where we just saw WTI crude for December futures closing or settling at $81.93 per barrel. And as it continues to trade in the electronic market, I'm just showing the overnight price action, which you can see fairly choppy. In fact, we take a look at the trailing month here, a lot of sideways action, still waiting for that next catalyst. Is it going to be something OPEC Plus does? Probably not. That was last week. This week, we have only today U.S. Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm saying that President Biden may make an announcement to address high oil and gas prices this week. No details on exactly what it could be, but we've seen the notion floated that it could be a release from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, so lots of eyeballs on this. Also want to check out the energy sector here, and as I pull up that heat map, we can see energy, the second best performing sector of the day. It's up about 0.9%, and seeing some action in Murphy Oil, that's in the upper left, that's up 5%, followed by Continental Resources, Hess, all of those up about 4 to 5%. And just checking in on the majors here, ExxonMobil up 1%, Royal Dutch Shell that's barely positive, and Chevron up 0.4%.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining me today. We have the apparently the Geico lizard popped up right as I stopped sharing. That would have been fun. First of all, I hope everyone's doing well and you're having a reasonably good week, as weird as the month has been. I wanted to start with that video. Hey, Virginia, Joe, Klingon, Loretta, everybody's kind of scrolling by real quick. For the record, my barking friends have been sequestered in other areas, but I'm sure they'll bark loud enough for us to hear them today. So, question, the government said they're going to take action on energy, which for the most part is a mismanagement of our resources, which is why we're all paying more at the pump. So the solution apparently was to, and I'll bring that article up here right now so you guys can all see this, is to release some oil from the strategic reserve. This is really a symbolic movement, okay? The United States Strategic Reserve is meant for wartime footing, where they have to keep essential items moving, the military, infrastructure, stuff like that. It's not meant for the large domestic market that we have in the USA. So releasing strategic petroleum reserve oil is largely symbolic. Now, the hope was to reduce oil prices. So according to this, this is an article actually from Market Watch via MSN. It says, oil futures settled Tuesday at their highest level in 2 weeks, with some analysts pointing that a talk of a potential release of crude from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve highlights the shortage of supplies. Strategy. Yeah, I can't even talk today, Lucky. It's terrible. And Joe did mention they were going to do this. A few of us kind of saw this coming. There's Howard. There you go. That's what you get for making fun of me and saying strategy. Anyway, and Lucky can speak to this as well because she's in the same state as I am. The strategic reserve is truly meant to support the military in an emergency capacity. It is not meant to supply the entire nation. And now some people in the past, if that happened, it would bring the price down because the psychology of the investor would be like, there's more oil. Hey, Monique, there's more oil available, therefore the price should go down. In reality, it's caca. It means nothing. It's not significant in the market. It's more symbolic thing. However, now the traders are smart and the market people are like, if you're kind of releasing, that means you're desperate. It's a desperation move, so they're expecting it to go higher. Now, right now, natural gas was at $84. I don't know what it's at today. Okay, so here they say West Texas Intermediate crude for December delivery rose $2.22 to $84 a barrel. Brent gained $1.25. Hey, howdy, metal, and Joe. Everyone thinking harder than ever. I won't put Joe's comment up, but y'all need to read Joe's comment because it's hysterical. Hey, D9, how are you? We're talking about Texas energy again. So in terms of demand, the return of the intercontinental travel will serve to tighten jet fuel supply. No surprise there, guys. We knew once they opened it up, people had been cooped up. They were going to basically go nuts. Now, the problem is, as I mentioned before, these geniuses decided we're going to reduce our carbon footprint, but they didn't account for making up that energy demand with another version of energy. Solar and wind can't keep up with that sudden drop in oil and gas, and bam, now we're paying it at the pump. But more importantly, oil and natural gas are used for heating as well as cooking and power plants, and that's where we're going to feel the pain. The New York track gasoline, and this is EIA is expecting, they were expecting and this is heating oil, not gasoline, $2.05 a gallon. So this is going to be an ongoing problem with this, because this was just mismanaged, y'all. It absolutely was goofy. And yeah, Joe stands by his statement. I'm not sure what that references, Monique, but that's very funny. I rubbed the cheapo hair dryer sheet on my hand. 0 stars, do not comment. Well, has anyone else noticed that the quality of the products is shit? Or is it just me? Even dog food, all sorts of stuff. It's just crap. So it's just it's weird. We're starting to see the stupid occur, and actually, it's really frustrating, because the reality, you hear the dogs. There's UPS goes by every day around this time, and they want to do battle with the UPS guy. Well, lucky, interesting. We buy Purina for our dogs, and normally you get kibbles. And the last couple of months, the kibbles are powder. Like, you get kibbles, and then like halfway through the bag is powder. And so you get this weird concoction of like dog oatmeal. It's really nasty. I mean, the dogs don't care. They eat it anyway. But, okay, see, she has the right idea. I know. UPS, the poor UPS guy. And what's funny is when they see him, they're super excited. Like they don't have tails, they're corgis, so they wiggle their butt. But they're super excited to see the guy. But until they see him, it's a monster. Dog logic. It's been one of those weird roller coasters. So this is the Washington Examiner. This is not a mainstream paper by any means, but they sometimes have good stuff. And they're saying subscribe today. Yeah, there you go. Subscribe today, whatever. So the vice chairman of IHS Markit, which is a energy sector market analysis group that I've dealt with. It's for the mister. I don't even drink. They're warned that the preemptive underinvestment of oil and gas will come back to haunt us. We're already seeing it, guys. We're seeing it all over the place. Every YouTube person that's involved in prepping is taking videos of their Walmart or their Kroger, and everyone's seeing something different because the supply is discombobulated. Joe actually had reported that he's not seeing really much of anything, and when I went through Texas, it was all over the map. Houston, one store was fine, one was empty. It's just really strange. He's saying the the IEA's stark new finding, a very strange thing and not realistic, and warned that preemptive underinvestment in oil and gas will come back to haunt us. He goes on to say, Jurgen said the findings from the group are already being used as justification for governments to restrict fossil fuel production and could accelerate investors cutting off funding for such project. And this is part of the problem is when the I think people are mad my Walmarts are full. Well, I'm glad D9's up and around. D9 had a pretty bad incident with a very large critter. The energy sector basically has stopped drilling, or they've slowed down significantly on the oil and gas side. They can't get those investment dollars, so they're just not. Hey, Stuart, thanks for jumping in. And thank you for the like. These guys are just unable to get cash flow. Part of it is pressure from the current administration. Part of it is because of this overall global push toward this greener energy, which is all fine and dandy, but they didn't take into account the fact that you need to make up that difference somewhere, or you're going to diminish the quality of life. I heard recently from one energy sector person, and actually what they said was very interesting. Their take was the making energy more expensive is going to hurt not the first world. You know, the US, we'll bitch and complain and fight about it, but at the end of the day, for the most part, the USA, Europe, even China, Russia, we're just going to get by. The emerging economies, especially the smaller countries, are the ones that are going to get clobbered. Those are the ones that are going to see this increase in their fuel costs. And then they're going to resort in desperation to burning stuff like coal because they can't afford anything else. So there's a lot of moving parts. And I, honest to God, just, and maybe I'm biased because I'm an energy sector guy, I just think, hey, Blue Sky, how are you? I really, honest to God, believe that these guys have not thought this through whatsoever. And of course, all of us are going to be the ones who pay for it. But the third world, and keep in mind, when the third world gets desperate enough, what is the inevitable result? Okay, it's happened repeatedly throughout history. You start seeing those migrations. You start seeing large groups of people who basically can't live where they are because they can't afford it or they can't eat, going somewhere else. This instability, it perpetuates other things. And you know, it seems like our leaders are oblivious to it, or maybe they're happy that it's happening. It creates more chaos. I don't know, but it's really weird to watch. So yeah, that's actually an agitation to me, because if you just sit there and think about it, they'd be able to see it themselves, and either they know it or they just don't care because they're getting political points. So they had one more. Oh, here it is. So what is happening with these? What is this going to do to the larger market, right? And again, hey, Militant, what's going on? I missed a few people there in the chat, so I apologize if I missed you. And there's Blue Sky again. I missed Stuart back here somewhere. Oh, there he is. Stuart. So, and mods, feel free, as I always say, feel free, any of the creators that have jumped on or they're starting their channel, feel free to drop any links in there. Guys, it's going to be erratic. I mean, this is not a surprise. What concerns me the most, honestly, is the price of energy. And again, being down in Texas, we're closer to the refineries. We're closer to the actual fields. I'm wondering about how this is going to affect the cities and places further out. Because you think about it, it's not only going to affect poorer countries, it's going to affect folks that are on fixed incomes right here at home. If your heating bill or your gas bill goes from, your heating is $100 a month and it quadruples, and now you're paying 400, especially if you're not on some kind of contract where you're a fixed price and you're hedged, you're going to get clobbered, and that's going to screw up your personal finances. So, these are things we kind of need to pay attention to, because they cascade into other things. Here's one for you. So the Evergrande, so that's that Chinese real estate company. Hey, Ghetto Prepper, what's going on? And Five Virgins, hello, hello. And so, and this article was from actually yesterday. They updated it 7 hours ago. The U.S. Central Bank, notice they're not calling it the Fed anymore. It's the Central Bank, which is kind of socialistic, but I'll stop now. That's a whole nother, that would require another live of its own. And I'll probably get the chat all fired up over that too, because it's true. We all know it. The U.S. Central Bank warned Monday that China's ongoing property woes could elevate financial stresses in China and would further strain global financial markets, negatively affecting the U.S. Now, of course, it turns out even though China owns a lot of our bonds, America owns a lot of their real estate holdings. Like they're all intertwined. But if that goes down, it's going to hit U.S. investors pretty bad too, which kind of sucks. In its biannual report on financial stability, the Fed pointed specifically to the crisis at Evergrande, China's most indebted developer. The company has sparked fears of contagion since September upon warning that it could default on its debts of more than $300 billion. Chinese authorities have introduced measures to cool down property markets. Hey, Bug Dude. And when the chat kind of zipped by on me there, but so sorry if I missed anyone again. Look at these building complexes. Like, this is crazy. If you can't see what it says underneath, it says unfinished apartment buildings at China's Evergrande Group Health Valley development on the outskirts of Nanjing, China in October. I mean, they're just building entire cities, but they don't have any people. I mean, they have people. They're just, people are not going to these cities. They're just building shit. I've heard outside of Shangxing, I don't know if I'm saying that right. That's what happens. You get people from Texas trying to say these really complicated words. They have an entire town that's built out, and it's meant to house. Hey, Arkansas is in the house somewhere. Hey, there he is. Oh no, not at all. And Arkansas, that's to your point. That's what I'm saying is we've invested in their shit too, the way they've invested in ours. And if that takes a dump, it's going to suck for us. So yeah, they're just building stuff. And now so there's a town on the outside of Shangxing that, can accommodate 500,000 people. And from what one of my business colleagues told me, 500,000 people, it has maybe 50,000 in the city, but it has all these skyscrapers, like little, I would think that's cool, right? All right, there you go. That's what we're about here. So Bug Dude, you just got another sub. Oh, here we go. Monique has some insights here. They did that in Vancouver as well. So that's interesting. Are they money laundering with these projects? Now, you know what they're doing in third world countries is they're offering loans to finance infrastructure. Say they go to poor country X in Asia, South America, Africa, wherever. They offer to finance. There you go, another one for you, Bug. I'm assuming that's who Militant's referring to. They offer to to finance these massive infrastructure contracts, knowing full well that country cannot pay it back in a timely manner. So what that does, it justifies China either A, taking over that natural resource like water infrastructure or the road or whatever, or remember, China looks 10, 15 years out, right? Or in 5 years, would it be justification for China to take one part of its 2 million man army and say, you know what, we're going to send 50,000 soldiers to your country because you're in default. And while we're there, you have natural resources, whatever those may be. I know at least one Afghan war vet told me, he said, you know what, they want to go to Afghanistan and chase that lithium and whatever the hell's in the mountains. Have at it, buddy. But you think about it, China looks not at the next quarter or the next election. They're looking at the next generation. Are they saying, hey guys, Lucky and Loretta want to know, anyone have a channel that you've started or you're trying to start and you've missed? Oh, Milkmaid. Hey, Milkmaid. And that's an interesting point, Ghetto Prepper. Absolutely, it makes you wonder what they're doing. It's just and actually, hey, Heroic, how are you? Actually, it's interesting. They just did a mock-up of an aircraft carrier in an open field, and they're doing bombing runs on it. And of course, the American satellites see it, and it makes you wonder if they put it out there on purpose just to kind of puff up. It's like, if we put it here and we bomb this big toy, the Americans will put it on the news and make us look important. Like, the way they manipulate the machine is just phenomenal. It just blows my mind. Hey, Northern Girl, how are you? Oh yeah, yeah, we got a couple of small channels, Heroic Prepper and Kelly's Plays More Prepared. Oh, there she is. Okay, we got Kelly. So yeah, they gotta know we see it. I mean, these guys have a massive intel. And by the way, absolutely go subscribe to Lucky if you have not already, because her stuff's awesome. And although I gotta tell you, Lucky, that one Barbie with the silver hair, she looked a bit like zombie-ish. It kind of freaked me out. I don't remember when you put it up there. I was like, oh. But yeah, she's for those of you who've not watched her, she has an avatar that changes every time she goes online. But yeah, it's interesting. So the big concern here is worries have receded in recent weeks as Evergrande managed to find enough money to meet financial debt repayments. But right now, so they sold a small stake in media company Hang 10 Networks Group, but it faces bigger bills. They're having problems. No, it wasn't I've seen the Barbie with the tinfoil hat. No, it was something else. Heroic, they got you. It just took everyone a while to find you. I don't remember what it was. God, yeah, Lucky does know stuff. And I'll tell you what, everyone, we're constantly trading notes in the background. You have no, where we're sending emails and texts and posting. So here's a question. Let's just say that China figures this out, or maybe they don't. Would their economy collapsing cause them to do something uncharacteristic of their government and do something rash, not something thought out in a panic? Just something to think about. It's kind of concerning when you think about that. So yeah, there's a lot of economic instability. The stock market has been flying high the last couple of weeks, like almost to the point, it has gotten to the point that a lot of people are going, dude, that's a bit much. Like, it's just a little too enthusiastic. And I remember one investor told me, and this guy was very good at what he did. He said, when people are greedy, you should be fearful. And when people are fearful, that's when you should be greedy. And it was an interesting take on what. Take care, D9. I guess she's got to go. So be safe. Please drive safe too. So right, and Bug Dude, that's exactly where I'm going. You gonna want to start a war. It happens every time. If you look at 1918, when World War I broke out, actually it started in 1915 or 14. Just before that, there was actually a weird pandemic. It wasn't as bad as the Spanish flu. And then the economy started cratering, which is why the Croatians and the Austro-Hungarian Empire were at odds, was trade. And then that guy killed the Archduke, and it just gave justification to go jump. Hey, Josh in the house. And Rip Curl's here. So, and definitely check out Josh and Rip's channels. Yeah, that is correct. Archduke Ferdinand. Lucky's got her history hat on. Ninja skills for, I can't put a ninja in there. I'd put a ninja for you, Lucky. But yeah, Lucky's on her game today. What we're seeing, all these countries posturing, a lot of military going back and forth in close proximity to each other, and then a lot of economic instability plus a pandemic just to make everything fun. Those are the settings we had in the pre-1915 world, and also we had that Spanish flu hit right after World War I, and then you had the subsequent Great Depression, not 8-9 years later at the end of the Roaring '20s. You're starting to see those cycles all happen again, but they're happening very fast all at one time. So, and speaking of that, so we're going to talk about the Fed here. So, oh, and definitely check out Just Josh, because he's a lot of fun to listen to. And well, you know what? The convenience of having a BSL 4-ish lab right by where the outbreak happened. Yeah, it makes you wonder, Joe. Absolutely. Let's look at this one here, because this is interesting. So risks of market bubble are growing. So yeah, Josh does have a radio voice. Although I would argue Lucky's got a hell of a radio voice too. Federal Reserve's easy monetary policy and the spike in the pace of inflation have left investors with negative real interest rates, which are fuel for asset bubbles. Arkansas. Okay, see now y'all talking smack, and now the chat's fun. Now I want to watch the chat. I don't want to talk about the article. And yeah, Thursday is Armistice Day. That is very true. All-time low negative real rates are apt to create excesses and poor future returns. We're concerned Fed policy is divorced from the fundamentals. Now, what I've been hearing in the financial sectors is that, yeah, oh, there was all sorts of wargaming going on prior to the 19 coming out. But what I'm hearing from the financial sectors is that investor enthusiasm is exceedingly high. So people are throwing money into the market, which is making it inflated. But the Fed has not backed off the stimulus the way they should have. So they're basically, we've overprinted money. They just spoke, I don't know if any of you guys heard, those of you who are content creators, they were talking about another round of stimulus checks. But we have people we have companies who can't find workers. What are we doing? And the Fed is actually arguing that's the opposite of what you need to do right now. You need to start reeling back the write-offs, reeling back the free money, basically, and get folks back to work, incentivize the companies to do hiring with some tax breaks or maybe awarding them a contract. But thank you, Hava. Spam gel comedy. Oh, there we go. Yeah, and Monique's spot on. You would have seen a lot of this stuff starting to form last year before it landed on all of us. So yeah, this is concerning because it says U.S. stock market has been hitting a series of all-time highs in an extraordinary run during the pandemic. And actually, it was kind of post the pandemic. Stocks continue to be stoked by less liquidity and the Fed's dovish rhetoric about rate hikes. So the Feds are not taking the normal actions to reduce this inflationary effect. And remember, the value of your money, part of it is your GDP. Part of it is the amount of money that has been printed, especially fiat type currency, the velocity of that money. You know, is it changing hands or is it just stagnant? And what you're seeing is a lot of the wrong things. Now, yeah, and so here's the question, and Bug Dude brings up a good point. So they passed this infrastructure deal, right? I guess, I don't know if it's going to the Senate or to the president's desk, but they've kind of rolled it out after a bunch of fighting. Ironically, that got held up by the socialists in the Democratic Party because the other Democrats wanted to pass the damn thing, and like 6 people held them up within that party. But they need to, and there go the dogs again. They need to decide how they're going to do that. See, this would be a perfect opportunity. Hey, we have this infrastructure bill. This is the money allotted. Hire people, and you'll be given contract work. And let's get people back into yeah, and this is very cool, by the way. A lot of folks here have gone live with one another. And so definitely check out all these channels, folks, if you have not subbed to all of them. But I don't know what's going on here. I'm missing part of the chat there, but on this screen I have, it's a really thin little thing on the side. You're going to keep seeing this kind of effect, and eventually it's going to cascade down. They're not taking the steps they need to mitigate the inflationary effect they've got. Yeah, and ultimately it will, right? Everything does pass in time. History. Oh, all right. I gotta ask what Lucky's cooking today. So we'll have to see what Lucky's recipe is today. But they're doing the opposite of what they need to do. And thank you, Rip. I do appreciate that. They're doing the wrong things. And so you're going to start noticing, I don't know how many of you saw my video. I went to the store the other night and I saw the mango frosted flakes. There was some mango flavored cereal, and I was making the sound because that to me is very gross. In reality, what I'm seeing now is companies are starting to adjust, and they're coming up with new products. So if anything, guys, keep an eye out over the next few months, because you may start seeing new products evolve out of the shortages because they can't get certain things. Apparently Lucky likes mango flakes. You know, now I gotta try them. I found mango flakes and I found Dr. Pepper baked beans, and I actually picked up the baked beans. So I'm gonna try those. I might actually do a video of that. I'll heat them up and try the different beans I'm finding and just take a spoon out of the damn can, see if they're tasty or not. But you're going to start seeing a lot of these new products evolve because companies can't get what they normally did, so they have to figure something out. So keep your eyes open when you're out there. Keep your eyes peeled when you're going to different stores, and check different stores. Don't go to the one you always go to and, oh, they don't have something, and just give up. Start shopping around. Hit Dollar General, hit Walmart, wherever the hell you're going to go. Hit the corner store. Just see what's there. Okay, lemon Oreos are addictive. That's like, that's some dangerous stuff. Yeah, Joe. They may be trying to starve some of us out. You never know, man. So I posted this morning, and this is going back to the China thing. And I put it on the community page. Josh did a short video on it. And I don't know, is Josh still out there? Oh, hold on. I don't know how many of you may have seen this. Let me see if I can get this thing open here. And we can watch this weirdness. Because this is definitely... this video, we watched it, and it was super strange. Let me skip ads here. Okay, let me pause that, and I will bring that screen up. And let's do that. All right, let me know if you can hear the audio. And, oh, I got to hit some play. There you go.
There is a run to the supermarkets.
So you guys probably saw this
there is panic
earlier today.
Army biscuits and luncheon meats have become the most searched items online. Rice, soy sauce, chili sauce, and noodles are trending on Alibaba. The top search on an engine reads, household stockpile list. Guess what's happening here? The Chinese are stocking up. They're buying cabbages, rice, sauce. Vendors are running out of stock. Begs the question, why? Why are people fighting for ration? Is China running out of food, or is there something worse in store? The government of Xi Jinping encouraged people to stock up. The Ministry of Commerce issued a notice on the 1st of November. And here is the notice on your screen. It asked local authorities to ensure there are enough supplies so that people stock up. Let me get some portions from this notice. This is what it says. The notice requires that all localities support and encourage large agricultural product circulation companies to sign long-term supply and marketing agreements. Storage-resistant vegetables should be purchased in advance, and the supply of goods should be locked in order to prepare local dishes and customer dishes. It goes on to say, and I'm quoting again, encourage families to store a certain amount of daily necessities as needed to meet the needs of daily life and emergencies. Strengthen the construction of emergency delivery networks. It does not say why. Why do the people of China need to stock up for an emergency?
Good question.
The government says winter or emergencies. Most countries experience winter, by the way. No country is free from the risk of an emergency. But governments do not ask citizens to stock up. Quite the opposite. Most governments advise against stocking up or hoarding. But China likes being an exception, and not in a good way.
The only thing that concerns me there
and we like to dig up the details.
Is the reference that stocking up equals hoarding, which I don't believe. And you know, Joe, they may see the writing on the wall, but when they put out that message, they freak people out because they've never done that before. Or the last time they did, they were probably fighting with us over Korea. So it probably scared them. But yeah, let's see what else. And by the way, this is WION. It is an independent channel out of India.
So let's try and find out why China is asking its citizens to stock up. Is there a food crisis? Is there a chance of a nationwide lockdown? Is China expecting tension with Taiwan to blow up? Or is the Met Office predicting an extreme harsh winter? China maintains it is not running out of supplies. A Commerce Ministry official told state broadcaster CCTV, and I'm quoting again, the supply of necessities, daily necessities, is sufficient everywhere and the supply should be fully guaranteed. Well, this does not say very much because when it's China, you do not take the government's word for it. That's the mantra. The truth is, vegetable prices are soaring in China. In many cases, they have become dearer than meat. Vegetables costing more than meat. Reports say in Beijing, vegetable prices are up at least 50%. Why is that? Heavy rains have hit the agricultural province of Shandong. Crops have been ruined, supply chains have been disrupted, and now prices are soaring. Does that mean the stock up notice?
All right, so that's we'll kill it there, but that's so they've been having all sorts of supply chain issues there, and now here we go with them making this weird announcement. It has gotten serious. And yeah, it has. This has gotten serious, and I think what you're going to start seeing is that, again, that cascading effect, and for whatever reason, since this whole shit show began, it started in the red, as how did Josh put it, the Red Dragon. It started overseas in the same country where this is going on. So, hey, in between, how are you? Well, actually, they had a really bad, a horrendously bad rain season that blew out a few dams, and some of their primary farm acreage got washed away. Like, they had the international news was in there filming it, so it was pretty stout. But I you know how it is, right? You have that supply chain. You have something happen over here. It's going to take a period of time before it ripples over and hits you here. And I think that's what we're seeing, because it was about 7 months ago, that weird weather hit them, or they screwed up a dam. I don't remember what they did, but they screwed something, got screwed, and a bunch of farmland got damaged. And you figure now they're starting to feel the effect of it. Now, why they'd make an announcement like that, freak everyone out, your guess is as good as mine. But I do have one other video for you, and I thought this one was interesting. So it's kind of the same take, but from the U.S. side. So let me tee that one up, and we'll see if I can get rid of these stupid little commercials that come up whenever you pull up a video. Okay, so I'm going to share this one as well. And Militant has a good comment. Hey, is Nikki in there too? I think I missed her. All right, so check this one out, and I'll start this now.
Facing rising consumer prices and supply chain problems, Americans are seeing increasing costs for food, energy, and housing. Between 2020 and 2021, milk prices have risen around 18 cents per gallon for conventional whole milk, and the price of 100% lean ground beef is up 39 cents per pound. These are two staple items for many households. Americans are also seeing higher prices at the gas pump. The Bureau of Labor Statistics reveals the average cost of gasoline per gallon has risen over $1 since last year. Americans are also finding it more expensive to buy a home. The cost of lumber is up 40%. The National Association of Home Builders says skyrocketing lumber prices have caused the average price of a single-family home to rise by nearly $30,000. And the public's outlook on inflation is at an all-time low. A new survey from New York's Federal Reserve reveals households expect inflation to rise by 5.7% over the next year. This is the highest hike since the survey launched in 2013. Here to break all this down with me is Sarah House, Director and Senior Economist for Wells Fargo's Corp and Investment Bank. Sarah, welcome. Great to have you with us. So, the Consumer Price Index, which measures the average change in prices consumers pay for goods and services, rose 0.4% September. This includes rising cost of food, energy, and housing. The new CPI report for October comes out tomorrow. What do you expect to see?
So we expect to see another big gain, actually bigger than what we saw in September. So we think that the Consumer Price Index will have risen 0.6% in October, and that would put the cumulative price gains over the past year up at 5.9%. So seeing that inflation picture continue to worsen over the near term before we think that it eventually will get better as we get further into 2022. But for now, it is a pinch on households.
And, it's just curious because there are other indicators in the mix here, right? The October jobs report was fairly strong. Employment rose by over 500,000. So what does all this tell you about the direction of the labor force, number one, and what this can tell us about the economy when you factor in the inflation?
Well, I think when we look at the inflation picture, one thing that's been underappreciated is the contribution of strong demand backdrop. So we've come out of the pandemic era environment with particularly strong spending on goods. It's been difficult for that side of the economy to keep up with demand, and that's really where we're seeing the exceptional inflation environment. So this gets back to the fact the economy overall is in a great position. So you mentioned the job market gains that we saw in last Friday's report, continuing to add workers back to the payrolls. And so even though inflation has picked up, more and more people are earning a paycheck. And so they're also able to go out and turn around and spend. And so the aggregate picture remains very strong, even if inflation is beginning to eat into some households' purchasing power.
Right, but you do make a really good point that inflation as a product of demand has an upside, correct?
Right, to the extent that it's coming from a strong economy, a strong consumer, that's not, that's not a bad thing. I think when we see that inflation is coming from either shortages or disruptions, and so you're not actually able to consume more, you're not increasing your own utility, to put it in economist speak, that's when it becomes more corrosive. I think also when we get to the point where inflation is so high, it makes it difficult for businesses or households to plan. That's when we begin to see some downside effects. I think overall now we're still in this extraordinary environment, so coming out of a period where you saw rapid shifts in terms of buying power. We have had some supply disruptions on top of that. And so I think the current inflation environment is very unique and related to a lot of the transition that's still undergoing in the economy right now.
I do think she's being a little bit optimistic here, and that's just my take, because these disruptions are much more profound. Like I mentioned in the other video, I drove through 5 cities in Texas, and just for giggles, I went by multiple automobile dealerships. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't see any dealership with more than 5 new cars of their own make. So like Chevy would have 5 new trucks or whatever in the front. They would be really spaced out. And then the rest of the lot was just full of other brand cars, which were mainly used cars. So even the dealerships are now becoming used car lots because they don't have new product to put out, at least not enough to justify it. They also mentioned these analysts, and this was a good video for those of you who want to look for that one. That was on CBS News. Yeah, it's and Joe has a good point. It's actually more, I don't know, I think it's more stupidity, but yeah, it wouldn't be I'm sure somebody's profiting from being full of shit. I don't doubt it at all. What is this? Northern girl hoping for a moose 5 best meat. Oh, wow. Okay, so apparently a Northern girl is going hunting for a moose, so that's cool. Yeah, but going back to, sorry, I had a squirrel moment. How do you like that? A month later, dealership called me off to pay me much more. Yeah, they cannot find new product, and so I think she's being a little optimistic. The guest for this lady, I created a monster. Injecting money. Yeah, it's they're injecting a bunch of money, but again, the value of that money, if they were injecting money, but the GDP was growing and you had velocity, that would kind of counteract what you're describing. And what you have now is they're not doing any of it right. They're throwing a bunch of paper into the market, and which blows my mind because they're printing money, but now we can't get cash at the bank. Does it even exist? And so that goes to the insolvency. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff that we're all seeing. And oh, hey, Corn Pop, how are you? And Drop, yeah, that just does not surprise me. We're seeing raw material issues in the energy sector. Actually, so it's funny. So, oil and gas kind of backed off. So their problem in the oil and gas sector is people, right? Because people are like, well, I got to make a living somewhere, and they left. Howdy, unknown. But the wind farms, and we have these massive wind farms out here, they're having issues getting the metal they need to make the airfoils or the blades for these massive turbines. Then you also have the solar companies are having issues getting the polycrystalline stuff to make the solar panels. So like it's hitting energy everywhere. But then they're going to cut back on the one we can easily get, which would be natural gas, because they're freaked out. Yeah, no, and you're spot on. That money is going. It's not going where it needs to go. And I don't know if maybe this infrastructure bill was a way of redirecting some of that after the fact. I really don't know where that's going. From LA, who's been friends with. Well, Drops. First of all, welcome, and actually, isn't it true? And y'all in the chat, feel free to chime in that the Chinese investors have a very heavy hand in the ports on the West Coast, specifically LA. And it blows my mind that we have Texas, Florida, Louisiana, Alabama, all these other port cities are saying, we've got capacity, send the vessels here, and it's taking such a really hard time to move it over. But they're focused on the LA port, which is understaffed, apparently. You're not the first one. Somebody else had told me that those big cranes, out of 10, there were 3 in operation the day that person went there, and they asked, why don't you have all of them working? And they're like, we don't have people. Or we can't get the people, or we can't afford them, they haven't been approved, whatever. Something's held up. So the ports in Vancouver also, the ports in Vancouver are also low on personnel, or they're backlogged, or do the Chinese investors have their hands in it? It's just really, I find it really interesting, all these things happening at once. And a lot of us in the community on YouTube are trying to kind of put these little pieces together, but everyone's seeing something different, and I'm wondering where this is going to lead. So, as a lot of the content creators will say, definitely think it's a that would be interesting. That'd be an expensive psyop, but well, they did close their ports actually, and they bought up a bunch of empty containers, which I don't understand. Maybe they were trying to get the containers on their side of the ocean for when the pandemic ended, and they could just flood the market with containers, and something went wrong, and now they're stuck with them. It's weird the way some of that's happening. Oops, hold on a second. Delayed on the supply chain, price going up doesn't seem rich. No, there's a lot of negative things happening all at once, guys, and I'm assuming militant. I'm assuming you're referring World Economic Forum on that one. I said it, so I'd probably get myself a flag, but technically we're talking economics. We're not talking other things. Yeah, you see how that. We'll see how that flies when I report I got a whack on the head. Yeah, it's there's a lot of little things, folks, going on at once. And I've mentioned, I think a lot of people have mentioned, go to your farmer's market, go to your local community butcher shop, whatever it is. Penalty on the turnover 10 yards. Not the first time people have mentioned that, and yeah, my big concern is whose pockets or whose hands are in whose pockets or in whose cookie jar. Take your pick on the symbolism. This energy thing is only one of many things, and we're getting hit with all the cogs around the main spoke are getting hit in succession. My concern is, where does it go? So, and what do you do, right? I like to discuss, like, what are our options. We can't control any of that. So change your investment strategy. I would talk to a financial advisor. I'm not one. Or diversify, have silver, have cash, have, somebody mentioned crypto in the chat. If you have a good handle on how to utilize crypto, you can diversify that way and see if that might give you some protection. Also, again, the basics, the fundamentals, the food, the water, the meds, make sure the clothing you have is suitable, the basic stuff. So if things get turned off again or something worse happens and supply chains shut down temporarily, yeah, well, social media is huge, without a doubt. Well, remember, back in the day was radio and television, right? That was social media. Now it's the stuff here. So yeah, they want to, and that's there's a lot of things all happening at once, basically hurting the working class of the U.S. Because I promise you, the rich and the elite and the Travis Scotts of the world do not worry. I'm just picking on Travis because I'm salty about that concert. Those things, those folks are not going to hurt. It's those of us who are working, trying to make a living. And it is a reset. They're trying to change the essential way the world functions. What I find funny, to Drop's point, is you don't see any of the people making these decisions or trying to force these decisions losing money. It's everyone else. There's an aristocracy of oligarchs and career politicians that is causing a lot of problems for everyone. Yeah, it's and he said it in a colorful way, but it's true. And oh, hey, big chap, how are you? Welcome. And yeah, so keep in mind, guys, there's a lot of things. We're not going to see the fuel pricing come down, even if the president tomorrow said, you know what, screw it, let's start drilling, drill baby drill, and they start putting the rigs back out, and then they say, okay, wind farms, go get that metal, start knocking out those windmills, and get the solar farms going. It's gonna take a while. It takes time for these things to magically occur, or I should say, they don't magically occur. You have to move them in that direction, and that takes time. And yeah, the only thing is they changed the names. You know, but it's the same thing, and it's absolutely right. And yes, and to Rip's point, absolutely. The farmers market out here in Texas, I've made friends with folks who grow year-round lettuce, greens, salads. One farmer, she does crops year-round, and she has them in the ground in these special covered like white tents. I mean, she showed me pictures when we were at the farmers market, and we buy from her. Like, I don't even buy salads from the chain stores anymore. I get them from her. Whatever I can't get from the farmers market, I'll get at the stores. But other than that, I get it from the local. I've made friends with and acquaintances with ranchers, the local meat market who sources locally. By the way, aside from supporting your local farmers, if you put solar on your house, and a lot of people have been doing that, and that's a great idea. Keep in mind, they do not include a shutoff and a battery pack in your house, you cannot make use of that solar panel if the lights go out. Okay, so if the power drops, in order to prevent from zapping or linemen, the solar panels on your house will by default disconnect. There's a circuit in there, just so even though they're receiving sunlight, they're not sending electricity anywhere, because okay. And are you referring to Northern Girl, I'm assuming? Or they so as I was saying, if you have those solar panels on your home, and I actually asked one of the solar folks, and they said you can do an add-on to your purchase. So, you know, you get these solar panels on your roof, wherever the hell you get them, that has the disconnect, but instead of just disconnecting, it reroutes the solar panels to the battery packs. And then you can run your house like, and just essential shit, right? Your fans, small lights, your freezer and fridge, which are important. Keep those foods preserved. And that makes you kind of energy independent, even if it's just for a shorter midterm. If you don't have that battery pack, once the power goes out, those panels will disconnect and the electricity goes nowhere, and you're getting no benefit from that investment. So people who put $20,000 or $30,000 on some of these solar panel arrays on their roof and not spend the extra $5,000 for the battery pack. And so when the power goes out, guess what? You just have useless shiny shit on your roof. It does not, unless you know how to rewire it, it does not serve your home a purpose. So if you're going to make that investment, hey, John. And Bug Dude, talk to them. I don't know what brand it is, but talk to them about what happens if the power goes out. If the power goes out, does that energy get rerouted to a battery pack or some kind of storage entity in your home? Or does it just shut off so they don't zap the poor linemen who are working on the power somewhere else? I understand the shutting down the line so you don't zap linemen, but it's concerning that folks are spending a lot of money on this, which is a great idea. And then they're thinking, oh, I have solar panels. If the light goes out, I'm great. And you're not. You're not great. Hey, Arleth. I may have missed a few folks in the chat, so apologies for that. But yeah, yeah. Research your stuff. ask questions, ask tough questions. Remember, the sales folks who come to you are salespeople. So if you know somebody who's like, oh, there you go. See, and that's how you do it, because now you know if it drops, even if it's a manual disconnect, I don't care if there's a, something happens, power grid goes out and I have to get my dumb butt out in the rain and turn a thing. Who cares? But now it's rerouted. Now you can use that. Oh, wow. Okay, I got to ask, how much space did that take in the property? That's pretty cool. But yeah, and again, if it's wired to serve the house as opposed to one of the roof commercial installs to serve the grid, and again, Bug Dude has it right on. He's like, okay, so drops is off grid, so that's completely self-contained. Bug Dude did it right though. If you get the commercial one that serves the grid, he has the disconnect and the battery reroute, so he can still make use of that incoming sunlight. Oh, I clicked the wrong one, but that's interesting. Okay, I have no idea the context of that, but that was kind of funny. And Northern has her zombie sweater on today. Northern, are you going on at 6:30 or 7:30? I can't remember. Okay, so you're using the marine batteries, and which is smart play. And it's, by the way, the RV batteries are very similar. It's the same concept. So if you can't find the marine batteries, you can go with an RV. For those of you kind of unfamiliar, but yeah, folks, if you're going to invest in those kind of things to kind of make you less dependent on the grid, make sure that you are doing the research and reach out to people in the community on YouTube, message the content creators. Because if I don't know, I'll ask a bunch of people, Lucky may know, or, Tribe may know, somebody will know something. Oh, that's right. So Angry and Gray are both going to be on live later tonight. So you guys definitely check them out as well if you haven't. I'm sure Angry will definitely be on Jason's going to be on a rant tonight if his other videos are any indication. Oh, there you go. So folks, do a little homework. Remember, they're expecting a super cold winter. Now, you add a super cold winter to the increased natural gas and oil prices, and you're going to see those prices, your costs are going to go up. So again, I've said it before, buy your food today, eat next week on today's prices if you can, and work with other people, collaborate out there. And if you can't find something in your town, reach out to your friends in other cities. If they're within a drive and they can pick stuff up for you and you can pick stuff up for them, and then meet somewhere, it'll cost you a little gas, but then you'll fill those gaps in your supply chain. So, but folks, I'm going to wrap it up. That's kind of everything I wanted to cover today about the energy sector and about China and the inflation. There are a lot of moving parts, folks. Continue to do the things as everyone keeps saying, continue to learn, continue to do the research, and continue to buy what you need to get you through a period of time where we may not have things showing up at the stores. I suspect you will not see the general public react until Black Friday. And I hope I'm wrong, but I suspect between the holidays, it's starting to hit mainstream media a lot now. I suspect between the holidays, right before Thanksgiving all the way through Christmas, you're going to see the big freak out in the stores. So, get what you need now, and get creative too. Hey, if you don't want to spend on a Christmas gift, or you can't find the gift you want, take that person bowling or something, and get some drinks and have a good time. And other than that, guys, look, that's all I got for y'all tonight. Thank you all for coming in and checking out the video. And the chat was absolutely awesome tonight. I love the collaboration and people talking to each other back and forth. That's what I want to see. The more people are engaged and working with each other, the less battles you're going to have. I even seen some recommendations on types of batteries. I think Drop and Militant and a few other people are talking about types of batteries for your solar. So play it back, fast forward to whatever information you were looking for, get that info and take action with it, guys. Now's the time to study and to make an action plan and move forward. We can't fix China. China has their own problems, but fix your things and take care of each other. And I'm glad you came, man. I'm kind of psyched about this. But in any case, all of y'all be safe. God bless. And if you can, help each other out. The more of us out there helping each other and helping the public, the less stupid. And the less stupid, it's safer for the rest of us. So guys, take care. We'll see you later on.